Excellent. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It is Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, and we will begin with our public statement.
I don't have the statement with me. I'm so sorry. Shall I go get it? It will take a minute.
I have
it. Okay.
We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We stand in support of our county's public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC. And with that, we will move on to our department updates. And we will begin with the all-important health department. Good morning, Ms. Cottle.
Good morning to you. I hope that everyone is able to stay in cool temperatures and well hydrated today. Be safe out there. So just to start this morning, I wanted to start with a couple of things about our current regulation. As this has come into play, we've had some questions, and I just want to go over a couple of things about that, including the new process that we have for putting that in place. So the order does apply to all of Monroe County. The public businesses, their employees, patrons, when indoors, need to wear a mask unless they fall under one of the exemptions. So our order does have exemptions. So it is possible that you could see someone in a business who is unmasked because of that. So again, just keep those things in mind. Area schools are to follow local regulations. The regulation followed the new process set forth by our legislature. The health order was issued, the board approved that, and then it went to the county commissioners, to you, for approval before it could take effect. Public comment was heard at both of those meetings. It was considered and actually incorporated into the final regulation. This was done in response to rising infections, the rise in the Delta variant, and the data demonstrating how much easier it is to transmit this infection, with the intent that renewed diligence would stop the surge and allow us to return to recommendations over mandates. Full cooperation by all, regardless of whether we are under a regulation or a recommendation, is vital. We are a community and we must care for one another. The process really has not changed either too much. Investigations, when we have complaints, always includes conversations, calls, can include visits to find out what is actually happening and why. Sometimes complaint investigations are substantiated and sometimes they are not. Even if something is unsubstantiated, it does not necessarily mean there wasn't a violation, simply means that we were not able to substantiate that. Either way, we work to increase compliance. We want to improve the health of our community, and as a public health entity, we have to look for the greater good. So that is part of why regulations are sometimes needed. So to the data. This week, our advisory on that state map, we will remain in yellow. Our number will go from 1 to 1.5, so there is an increase, but we will still remain yellow this week. Our cases per 100,000 have topped 100, however. So in that one metric, we are now orange. Our positivity rate is between the 5 to 9.9%. So that keeps us in a yellow in that one metric. So that is why we are still in yellow, but our numbers are increasing. The Delta variant is accounting for 95.6% of all sequenced cases in Indiana. It is more than twice as easy to be transmitted from one person to another compared to earlier strains. One person can infect up to 8 to 9 susceptible people, which is about the same as chickenpox. Infectability, studies are showing that fully vaccinated people can spread Delta variant, and that is again why the CDC changed their recommendation on fully vaccinated individuals. The Delta variant is accounting for more breakthrough cases than other strains did, and it has a much higher viral load. It is responsible for several outbreaks in Indiana. In Indiana, this past week reported over 2,000 new cases on 8/6, and that's a recent uptick, is the highest average cases in Indiana since the peak last December. Average of 1,350 cases per day this past week as a state, 5 straight weeks of increases. Hospitalizations and deaths are also increasing across the state. So the updated guidance for fully vaccinated people, again, did change based on some of this information, and it is that everyone wear a mask in indoor public settings in areas of substantial and high transmission, regardless of vaccination status, and that is where our new regulation is founded. You can follow on the CDC tracker if you want to follow what's substantial, what isn't, what states. Pretty much all of Indiana is at that substantial or high rate. There is a new piece of follow-up as well. Fully vaccinated people who have a known exposure to someone with suspected or confirmed COVID-19 should be tested 3 to 5 days after that exposure. So that's a change as well. Before, you didn't need to be tested unless you developed symptoms. They are seeing a quicker, shorter incubation period in many cases. That's where that 3 to 5 days is coming into place. Continue to wear masks in indoor settings for 14 days or until that test and you have a negative result on that test. And again, the CDC is recommending universal indoor masking for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors to school, regardless of vaccination status. And I just want to end with 2 things. A personal thank you to those who remain calm and kind, even in disagreements. And something that I learned today, and this is if you are a competitive person, and the rivalry between IU and the University of Michigan. So the county that is home to the University of Michigan has over 80%, almost 90, in fact, of their residents fully vaccinated. Wow. Yeah, we haven't hit 60 yet. I do not want the University of Michigan and their county to be able to top us. So if you're competitive in that arena, then maybe that could motivate a few people. I'm not sure, but thought I would share that little tidbit and for all those who are competitive.
All right, thank you so much. Washtenaw County, Michigan, for those who are wondering. All right, let's see if there are comments or questions. Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, I know that no one is happy to have to be wearing masks again. It's not where any of us really want to go, but this Delta variant is really scary, and it's especially frightening the way it's affecting children. So just keep children in mind and wear your mask. Even if you are vaccinated, you could be giving COVID Delta variant to a child.
Commissioner Giffens?
Yes, I saw in today's paper that last week alone, 300 students across Indiana had been diagnosed with COVID, and school's not even fully back in session yet. And so, wow, I like Commissioner Jones, I don't want to see kids impacted by this, especially last week, there was an article in the New York Times about 10 to 15% of young people get long COVID, and it's pretty debilitating.
Yeah, it's not just a flu, that's for sure. Yeah, excellent. And just a reminder to folks where to book to get a vaccine.
Ourshot.in.gov. You can go on there. You can look at all the counties in Indiana, you can find something that's convenient for you. And again, there are rides available. If you need a ride to get your vaccination, there's information about that as well.
Or they
Excellent.
can call 211, right?
They may, yes.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you so much. Sobering news, and we appreciate the work of you and Dr. Sharp and our health board and everyone on your staff. Just, you know, we were hoping we were past this and we're not, and it's because we're not vaccinated enough as a country. So hopefully we will prevent the next mutation. That would be a nice thing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next we turn to emergency management. Ms. Allison Moore. There you are. As I say, I thought I saw you. There you are. Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to start with talking about the heat index that's going to be hitting our community. It's already getting warm out there. Starting this morning, we anticipate having that 100 heat index by this afternoon, early afternoon. So because of that, we have open cooling stations. They will actually go into effect at 11 o'clock this morning, and they will remain open until 7 p.m. today and tomorrow. We will continue to monitor that and see if those stations need to remain available, continuing during those daily hours and extend those days beyond today and tomorrow. At this point, that's what we have open, and we will monitor the weather. So as you can see there, fire stations, thank you to our tech services department for placing that up there for us. They're at our fire stations that are geographically throughout the community. And so these are places where you can go if you do not have air conditioning or are somewhere that you work in extenuous heat outside and need a quick place close to where you're located to go in and cool off. We ask that you wear a mask inside those stations and follow our mask order, as well as stay 6 feet apart. There are masks, of course, at every station if that's something that you do not have and need to utilize the cooling station for. And of course, if you have any questions about this or would like a quick reference of this, it is on our county webpage. You can go back and I ask that you share this information, throughout the public. If you're somebody listening today and you know somebody that doesn't have air conditioning or someone, the elderly and such, I ask that you check on them and make sure that they are aware of these stations and can utilize this service that we offer if it's needed. And also, even if they have air conditioning during these extreme heats, I ask that, individuals in our community check on their neighbors, check on children. Don't let children play outside for long periods of time. Make sure you have water with you, you stay hydrated, and just remember, you can get very overheated very quickly when the heat index is as high as it is today and tomorrow. We thank you, Tech Services, for that flyer, putting it up for me. We have had 19 families that have been able to qualify for the Indiana Disaster Relief Fund from the June 18th flood. So that is wonderful. There's about 5 more individuals that have completed applications that are in that process at this time. If you recall, they have to apply for the small business administrative loan first. And then if it's an individual that does not qualify for that, then they can qualify for the Indiana Disaster Relief. So of those that didn't qualify, we've had 19 that have been able to get funding through the Indiana Disaster Relief with the possibility of 5 additional. And if you are a resident that was affected by the June 18th and 19th flood and you have not yet applied for the small business administrative loan and you need assistance, you can go to our county website, and that link is on our county website under the emergency management page, co.monroe.in.us, and it will walk you through how to submit an application to apply for assistance. There's also a number on there if you're someone that would prefer to give that information to an individual that will help you complete that application. You can do it that way as well, and that information must need to be submitted by September the 7th. So you still have a little bit of time, but if you are someone in our community that was affected, I encourage you to get in and get into that process. And of course, our office is always willing to assist any of those individuals and gearing them in that right direction. If they need help, they can contact our office as well. It's Childhood Preparedness Month, as I mentioned last week. It seems like it's been a month since last time we met already this week. We encourage families, when you're making your plan, to include your teens in the planning of having that family plan. So that's my key target for this week. I encourage you, if you're making a family emergency plan, sometimes teens have awesome ideas and great suggestions. And so instead of just sitting down and telling your children and telling your teens what your family plan is, it's encouraged that they be a part of the planning process, and that you as parents or caregivers listen to them and take their suggestions on some of the ideas that they have. Try to make it something that they can help manage and pieces that they can be responsible for. And oftentimes that makes their stressful situation, when you may have to up and leave your family due to a disaster, a little bit better, because they felt more control because they had control in the planning piece. I'd like to now move on to our blood drives. We have 2 drives still scheduled in August. They are the 26th and the 27th. They are both going to be held at the Monroe County Convention Center, and they are both from the time frame of 1 to 7. If that's something that works in your schedule, you can go to redcross.org and schedule an appointment for those. We are still leading the pack in our Indiana drive, and I continue to encourage any individual that can, of course, make those donations, do so, because it continues to make our Monroe County Board of Commissioner drives the most successful in the collection of blood in the state of Indiana, which we are super excited to be the leader of. And we greatly appreciate the Convention Center and all those individuals, those volunteers that work for the Red Cross, as well as all the community members that make those donations. I also want to mention, because of the mask mandate, we have had several different departments and organizations that have needed masks, and our office has been very busy this week in distributing those, and we will continue to have those readily available for various organizations and businesses that may in fact need those, various departments and such. And so if that's something that you do need, you're welcome to give us a call at 812-349-2546, and we can make arrangements for those to either be picked up or delivered to your location if needed. That's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all the valuable information. Yep, the heat advisory is going to continue in tomorrow, and it looks like we had a little relief for the weekend. Thank goodness. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Giffens?
Yeah, when you talk about involving your teens, don't you have personal experience with that?
I do. I do.
Good. Excellent. Thank
Sometimes
you.
they like to give all that information, those teens. Sometimes they love to talk back and share wonderful information, but this is a great time where you can utilize that and use their expertise.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Moore. We appreciate you. And let's now turn to Ms. Ridge with a report from Highway. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't have a lot to report. We are doing our normal summer activities. I encourage anybody that has any type of hazard or road request, work request, they can go to our website at the www.co.monroe.in.us and fill out a form, and that will come directly to us. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Giffens?
No, I just hope that the road crew is aware of the heat advisory too.
They are very much aware, and we have plenty of water for them. We are not doing paving operations today. We're doing more patching, tree trimming. So we're not having them on the back of a hot paver.
Good.
Excellent. Good planning. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Ridge. And next, let's see if there's any other department heads who wish to offer an update for us. Okay, well, we as the Board of Commissioners are going to offer some information for the public. This is something that we have considered seriously, and as a result of reading through the Baker-Tilly report, attending 3 public meetings that we as a county hosted, and also listening to the comments at the last city council meeting, we have come to a decision. So Commissioner Githens, I will throw it to you.
Thank you. The Monroe County Board of Commissioners is opposed to the annexation plan proposed by the city of Bloomington. While the Board of Commissioners is unable to take any legal action regarding this proposal, we wish to state our objections for the record. This annexation is far too large, with more than 6,600 parcels targeted. This is an overreach, as smaller annexations can occur over many years rather than instituting a disruptive, large-scale, one-time annexation. As former County Commissioner Charlotte Zitlow noted, this annexation has torn the community apart. During her time as a member of the Bloomington City Council, Charlotte reported she was involved in multiple voluntary annexations. As part of the voluntary annexations, city personnel sought input from property owners before moving forward. Since current state law allows for voluntary annexation, we urge the Bloomington City Council to vote against all 8 of the areas being proposed by the mayor and to work with the residents in each area, maybe even individual neighborhoods within a given area, so that voluntary annexation can occur. Previous successful annexation efforts began with meeting residents and hearing their concerns before the ordinance was passed by the council. The city's current process has put residents outside of the city back on their heels, on the defensive. Rather than work in opposition to property owners, we urge that the city council take a collaborative approach to annexation.
We are concerned about the county's potential annual revenue loss of $2.7 million. In addition, MCCSC will have an annual loss of $486,000. Monroe County Public Library will lose $273,000 every year, and Monroe County Fire Protection District will lose $500,000. Other taxing units, including township government, will face additional losses. According to the estimates from Baker-Tilly, these reductions are higher than the estimates from the city's fiscal plan. All county residents, whether they live in the city or in an area targeted for annexation or an area not targeted, will be impacted by the reduced revenues. Monroe County government provides services for all residents, whether they live in the city, a town, or in the unincorporated parts of the county. These services range from weights and measures to the Monroe County Health Department. We want to emphasize that the largest portion of the county budget is dedicated to the criminal justice system, which includes the sheriff, jail, community corrections, probation, the courts, the prosecutor and public defender, and the Youth Service Bureau. Our criminal justice study was just completed. In order to enact the recommended reforms, which will benefit every Monroe County resident, this funding will be needed for ongoing operations and personnel. Residents are concerned about the limited number of city police officers. This will become a larger issue if the city adds all of this additional territory. These impacts both those residing within city limits and those in the proposed areas for annexation. When property taxes increase to this extent, housing becomes less affordable, especially for renters and those on fixed incomes.
And so we encourage county residents who are targeted for annexation to become informed. If you don't want to be annexed, you will have the opportunity to remonstrate. the fiscal report from Baker Tilly, the CPAs that we consulted with, is available on Monroe County's website, co.monroe.in.us. You will also be able to find there a tax estimator tool that Baker Tilly created, where you could plug in your current property tax information to determine what the cost would be if annexation were to happen today for county residents. So it's a good way to understand those property tax implications for you personally. In 2019, the Indiana legislature passed a law which would make waivers of remonstrance, meaning those, especially those with sewer service, but others as well, who have signed a waiver that said they would not remonstrate against annexation. These now expire after 15 years. And our county auditor, Ms. Kathy Smith, will be following the current state law as she processes those waivers at the appropriate time. And those are not available yet, but they will be once the city council has cast a vote. If a property owner is unsure about the existence of waivers, please know that there is no penalty or fee for filing a remonstrance against annexation on any property if you're not sure. That's the role of the auditor in this. There is a group working to gather information on petitions, stopbloomingtonannexation@gmail.com, and a phone number there, 812-361-4424. It's also important to note that the City Council is holding just at least one more public session where you can express your support or opposition to annexation. That begins at 6 p.m. tonight. That is a meeting that is available. They will only be available via Zoom. Now, for those residents who are having difficulty getting onto Zoom, they are opening City Hall at 5:30 p.m. tonight. And you can utilize online tools at City Hall to connect with the City Council to provide your comment. And of course, because of our health order, masks and social distancing will be required. If you cannot attend the meeting tonight, which again begins at 6 p.m., you may want to email the City Council at bloomington.in.gov. That is an email address that will go to all of the City Council members. They are listening, but if you don't share your comments, they won't hear you. We are sad about this proposal. We are concerned for those residents, especially those on a fixed income, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to share this information with you today. So thank you for that. And with that, we will move on to public comment. Now, this public comment time now is for items that are not on our agenda. Just as with public comment in the remainder of our meeting, if you wish to make a comment, you will be limited to 3 minutes. There's the little timer on the screen there. And at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you will hear a tone. Mr. Egan?
Did you not hear that?
No, we did not. So that's why.
Well, you should have heard that.
Test it.
Indeed. One moment, please.
Testing.
There we go.
We did hear that. Thank you, Mr. Egan. Yes, when you hear that tone, that means you have 30 seconds left. And of course, this 3-minute time limit is for all of our other agenda items. And again, public comment for items not on our agenda. If you would like to raise your hand on the Zoom screen. we will bring you over to make comments. Check something here. Okay, I do not see any. So with that, we will move on to our next agenda item, please.
With approval of minutes for August 4th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have edits, revisions, comments? Okay. So with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of the minutes, August 4th, 2021?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Right. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable August 11th, 2021, and payroll August 13th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have Mr. Miller. Good morning.
Good morning. The total for claims was $1,067,881.57. $251,486.48 was for the distribution of funds for wheel and surtax for June. $194,092 was for John Jones Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep for 4 2020 Dodge Durangos for our Sheriff Department. And finally, $120,000 was for Lambert Consulting LLC for the Stay Safe marketing campaign for COVID Public Awareness Phase 2. As far as payroll is concerned, the total was $1,627,810.01. $1,149,812.55 was for the main supplemental and incentives payrolls, and the remaining $477,997.46 were for the payroll related claims such as taxes and perf.
Right. Thank you so much. Let's see if there are comments or questions. Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens?
But from what I understand, we're lucky to have been able to acquire 4 new vehicles with the demand for things right now.
Definitely.
All right. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Just raise your hand on the Zoom screen. Okay. Do not see any. So with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on accounts payable August 11th, 2021 and payroll August 13th, 2021?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will note for the record that we have received a report from Weights and Measures for the time period of June 16th to July 15th, 2021. And now we are on to new business.
Move to approve Resolution 2021-34, Parks and Recreation Surplus Property.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Whitmer, good morning.
Good morning. This is the playground at Cars Farm Park Shelter 1 that will be replaced with an ADA compliant surface in-play components, hopefully in the fall of 2021. We're asked that you would surplus that so we can start to remove that late August, September.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
I was just wondering if there's any value left for the equipment that's being removed.
There is no value as to be reused as a playground. We might be able to sell some metal scrap. That is it. The force required to remove the playground, because it is anchored by concrete, will have irreversible damage to the playground unit and cannot be reused.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, looking at the picture that you included in the packet, it looks like it's time to replace that equipment. And the surface also of the playground is, yeah.
Well, the new surface will be exactly like at the Carstrom Park Sophia Travis Playscape. It'll be cushiony. It'll have turf on top. So you won't see those weeds anymore because we really don't like to spray chemicals around the playground.
Excellent.
Yeah, smart move. And our new playground equipment is coming soon.
I hope there is a supply chain situation, so we hope for the best that it'll arrive in time because we cannot install it if the weather turns below 50 degrees, or we're going to have to put tents around and to try to install it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for your attention to this. Let's see if there is any public comment on this item. Just raise your hand in the Zoom screen. Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on resolution 2021-34?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve Btech Fire and Security Environmental Services for the Youth Service Bureau. Fund name, Lit Special Services, fund number 1114, in the amount of $3,960.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and we have a second, and we have Mr. Crone here to tell us all about this. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this morning.
You too?
This is a simple service agreement with Btech Fire and Security to clean and inspect the commercial gas range hood that is located in the youth services kitchen. We are required to have that inspected and cleaned quarterly to comply with fire code. So this agreement covers 3 years. It's billed annually at $1,320 and it's performed quarterly.
Great, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, probably I should know this, but is a range hood particularly susceptible to catching on fire?
Well, this is a commercial kitchen setup that the youth shelter has, and because of grease that collects on it, it can catch fire. It also has a suppression system that has to be inspected and tagged that it's been inspected. That is part of the fire marshal's inspection when they come through. So we have to, that is a code compliance issue.
Great. It's good to do everything to keep kids as safe as possible.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, I really appreciate doing preventative kinds of work like this. It'll lengthen the lifetime of the equipment as well.
Correct.
Yeah, definitely a great idea. Appreciate the thought that goes into this kind of planning. And let's see if there's any public comments on this item. Let's raise your hand on the Zoom screen. I do not see any. So with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement with Btech Fire and Security Environmental Services for YSB?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Move to approve ratification of the Security Pro 24/7 agreement. Fund name, County General, fund number 1000, in an amount not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Cockrell, will you please tell us all about it?
Yes, and we brought this up last week at the work session and it was approved there. So this is for ratification. It is essentially the same agreement we had with Security Pro last year when we needed help with our health orders and their education and enforcement of them. This is the same hourly rate, same not to exceed $25,000. The end date for this is December 15th, 2021. So You know, the hope is that we won't need them that long, but we'll have them for that period of time. If we do need them that long, I suspect we may have to amend it for the not to exceed amount. But this is just to kind of continue that program. The health department was really pleased with their services last time.
All right, excellent. Ms. Cottle, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, Mr. Cockrell did a fine job explaining that, and we are looking forward to having their help again.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, they did a great job of helping us out last year, and I'm glad they'll be back on board for what we need for this year.
Thank you, Commissioner Githens.
Yes, I actually heard from downtown business owners earlier this last spring that they were happy to have this kind of help, that way their employees got to do their work and Security Pro was there to educate patrons.
Yeah, great, excellent. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Looks like we have Mr. Shelton. Good morning. Let's see if we can get him brought over to panel.
Who are we looking for?
Mr. Shelton, his hand's raised in the attendees. There we go.
Oh, yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Shelton with the Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the business community, we want to encourage you to approve this as we did at the work session. And thank you very much for providing this help to our businesses to deal with the education and enforcement part and let the employees do their job. So thanks very much.
Excellent. Thank you. And let's see if there's any other comments from the public on this item. I do not see any. So Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the ratification of Security Pro 24/7 agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens,
Yes.
motion approved 3-0.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve Resolution 2021-38, Recorder's Office Surplus Property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please tell us all about it, Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, the recorder has two items that they no longer are needed. One is a 4-drawer filing cabinet. The other is a plat cabinet. They wish to dispose of these. I would just note that they had quite a bit of other pieces of office furniture and equipment that have been or are in the process of being relocated to other areas of the county. So these are the two that had no takers.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens?
No, thank you.
All right. Okay, seeing none, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Just raise your hand on the Zoom screen. I do not see any. So, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2021-38?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens,
Yes.
motion is approved 3-0.
Right. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to our next item.
Move to approve Ordinance 2021-31, establishing the Monroe County Criminal Justice Response Committee.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Please tell us all about this, Mr. Cockrell.
Yeah, this would be a committee that's comprised of 2 county commissioners and 3 county council members. As everyone is aware, we have recently received our criminal justice study reports, and there's a lot of work to be done in order to figure out the proper implementation of those. Some of those are within the court system. Some of those are much more of a community-wide tasks. And I think this group is going to look more at the community-wide tasks and let the prosecutor and the judges look at kind of the more internal to the actual operations of the system. I think it's anticipated at some point in the future those may combine, but this is kind of to make sure we get the community component of that started and working.
Excellent. Thank you so much for working on this. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just that I'm glad that we're getting going. This is something that's really been needed, and it's going to be particularly important to have a lot of help and cooperation from the community. So we'll be reaching out to a lot of people.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, I want to nominate Commissioner Jones to be part of that committee.
Thank you.
No, you've given a lot to this area, and your knowledge is extensive. So, yeah.
Be great. This was presented to the council last night, just to let them know. Were there any comments from the council last night on this?
I mean, the only comment that I recall was that they wanted to make sure that these meetings would be publicly noticed and that they would be open to public. Clearly, that's one of the reasons we're forming this committee formally, is to make sure all that occurs, that there'll be regular agendas and that. So that was really the comments from the council, is just making sure the public knows that, hey, these are open meetings where you can come in and hear what the work of the county government is, especially in light of the criminal justice studies.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any public comments on this item. Okay, seeing none, we'll come back for a vote. Mr. Copper, will you please call the roll on Ordinance 2021-31?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great, thank you so much. I will note that we do not have any appointments today, and just a few quick announcements. I was notified during our meeting that in addition to City Hall, residents may also go to the Van Buren Township office, which is located on Kirby Road across from the fire station at the airport. And you may go to that office to connect to Zoom as well. We, in recent meetings, had renewed the Township Assistance Fund, and that will remain in effect until the governor's order lapses. The Township Assistance Fund is there to help residents with basic necessities and paying for basic necessities like rent and utilities. If you are struggling, please contact your township trustee for assistance, as there are a number of funds available to help you. Every county resident lives in a township, whether you live in the city, town, or not. So please contact your township trustee if you need assistance with anything. We do have some board and commission appointment openings, including the economic development and affordable housing. But if you're interested in serving in county government, please submit your application through co.monroe.in.us. I want to thank Technical Services, Mr. Egan, and do we have anything else for the good of the order? Okay, so with that, we are going to be adjourned. Shall we start our work session at 11 a.m.? That work for everybody? Okay, great. So we are adjourned. Our work session begins at 11 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Please get vaccinated.